34-26, the final score from AT&T Stadium. Welcome into the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper. Alongside Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. The Cowboys fall to 6-7-1. An unfortunate performance in this one as the Cowboys had a lead early, went back and forth with the Vikings from that point forward, but ultimately fall up short by 8 in this one. And really their playoff hopes take a significant dash here as well. Back-to-back losses for the Cowboys, and the mini bye week doesn't end up the way that you want it to.
No, not at all. And you never felt at any point in time in this game that the Cowboys necessarily had control of it. Offensively, for the Vikings, those guys had time to do what they wanted to do. They didn't have necessarily a running game. Dallas did a good job of shutting down that element because I felt as if you committed to stopping the run, that you could almost rest assured that J.J. McCarthy was going to have a rough night. Well, that was not the case tonight. J.J. McCarthy actually had a relatively good night in comparison to what he's done for the remainder of his season, and it just wasn't enough defensively. The guys were open all day long. He had too much time to throw the ball. On the flip side, our offense just had no passing game, no consistent passing game whatsoever. Dak Prescott was under consistent duress the entire night. There was only 2 sacks on him, but I can't even tell you how many pressures they had. It was very hard to diagnose exactly what they were doing defensively, and he pretty much eliminated our majority of our passing game outside of CeeDee Lamb.
We had enough running game to be balanced, but once again, our offensive line, you sustained the injury at the left tackle late in the game and had to put in a new guy, and that didn't work too well. So I tell you, defensively, at pregame, I told you guys I was playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I said, we're laughing at J.J. McCarthy, but he may be looking at our secondary laughing.
Yeah.
And today, he came out the victor. So what we need to do is go back and regroup. And I teased about watching about other teams helping us get to the playoffs. Hey, get refocused, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, 15 of 24 passing for J.J. McCarthy, 250 yards, couple touchdowns. He did have the one interception that was tipped on the blitz by Donovan Wilson. A great start to this one. It felt like Dallas would have control, and I'm glad you brought that up because there were 2 occasions in the first half. First, when they had the turnover and the interception to Quinnen Williams, they go down the field, they score, go up 7-0. Then even after the Vikings go back down and answer the bell with a touchdown of their own later in the first, Dallas starts the second with a touchdown score pretty quickly there. They had opportunities. What led to losing those opportunities and seeing it slip through the fingertips?
Third down efficiency, 2 for 12.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're playing baseball. That's not a good percentage. 17% on third down is just not going to get it done. And what does that result in? It results in you having 3 and outs. It results in you having to get off the field, or it results in you relying on your kicker who is subject to having a bad night. He's allowed to have a bad night too. Tonight was not what you expected out of Brandon Aubrey, but over the past month they've relied so much on Brandon Aubrey and him coming through in the clutch for these long field goals. Eventually he was going to have an off night, and then unfortunately tonight was just that night.
Just to add to that real quickly, it's only the 3rd time in Aubrey's career where he has missed multiple field goals in a game, and it's the first time that he's done it in a place not called the Washington Commanders' home field, I guess FedEx Field at that point in time in Landover. It was the only time that he's done it at home as well. So off night for Brandon Aubrey as he missed the 2, but even then you lost by 8. It wouldn't have been enough.
The thing that's kind of we knew that we live by and die by the big plays.
Yep.
We didn't have enough of. CD had 2 or 3 big plays. We had none from George Pickens, and we had a few good runs, but we live and die by the big play. And Jake Ferguson and the rest of the tight ends kind of disappeared. The middle of the field was open. You talked about that all the while. We have to be more efficient as tight ends in the middle of that field.
Yeah, today you look at the one reception for 29 yards from Luke Schoonmaker. That was really a great play by Dak Prescott. Found Schoonmaker open, who was able to advance the football those 29 yards. But for the most part, you look at the statistics, and they don't line up for Dallas. They did outgain Minnesota, but whenever you're 2 for 12 on third down, that money down for a reason, it puts you behind the 8 ball, and you're unable to really come up with the big stops and the big plays you need.
Yeah, bend but don't break defense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Brian Flores does. He allows for you to go out there. You can rush the ball. You outran. You have more rushing yards than them. You're a lot better in terms of you're really just running the ball. That's really where you're at. But they allow for you to get into those third down situations, and that's his playground.
Yeah.
where you go up there and double A gap with the linebackers, try to make you figure out exactly who's coming, and that's why Dak never felt comfortable. Dak, I mean, I coming into this game, we knew that the offensive line was either going to have to squeeze to take away the A gaps, or they were going to have to fan block, which was to block one direction, and then one side was going to be bringing pressure. That's what you were facing. When you couple that with the fact that your offensive line has been struggling, bad combo.
You know, I listened to a lot of our podcasts. It's mainly y'all podcasts was the first one that really brought that up, that this is one of the better physically gifted teams, and all they were missing was a quarterback.
Yeah.
And today that quarterback played efficient, and the better team won.
And that's the thing, is the talent level we knew with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. How about Naylor and what he brought to the table today as well? A couple touchdowns in big fashion as well. Aaron Jones was bottled up. The run defense did their job for the most part. Quinnen Williams goes down late in the game. A lot of injuries starting to stack up there. Nate Thomas had to leave the game. Hakeem Adeniji played at that left tackle spot in case. So it really feels like the wind out of the sails began going into that Thursday night football game against Detroit. That was the first real indication that, okay, maybe this magical run following the bye week was not going to happen. It's still a better football team, in my opinion, right now, but they didn't play like it tonight, and I think the wind's out of the sails. It might be entirely out of there now.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's going to be very difficult for these guys to come out there and do their jobs at a level that everybody else expects them to. Yeah. It's just a reality of the matter. These are human beings. Obviously, they're getting paid to do a job at a high level, but the human nature, really comes and sets in. Do we have a chance at this? Chances are very, very slim. Mathematically, yes, you have a chance, but the reality is, that playoff run opportunity is pretty much gone. And I would be surprised, I would not be surprised if we saw a number of guys that fell onto IR status just to protect guys going into next year.
It's just amazing that you do all you can do as a player, man. But this is the time of year when everybody's trying to make a run to impress another team, to get a new contract, to get into the playoffs for home field advantage. So everybody's pumped up one way or another going with these last 3 or 4 games in the season.
So what do you want to see going into the final 3 games? You've got the Chargers coming up next Sunday. Then you, of course, have back-to-back against divisional opponents. First Washington on Christmas, then against the New York Giants to round out the season. What do you want to see out of those 3 games?
I'm saying it, Kyle. I've always wanted to stack up and do one thing well, and that's stop the run.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that consistently.
Yep.
Now we just plug in a few more players. I keep seeing this team, for me, it's not a disappointment because they'll continue to grow. Oh, yeah, I want to win. I mean, I want to be able to brag, but I'm seeing growth within this team. We just don't have enough big-time players to make it happen.
I agree with you 100% in terms of them being efficient in stopping the run. 2 areas of concern for me right now. The offensive line.
Yes.
As an entirety. I'm not going to point out individual positions, but the entire offensive line does not look sound right now. And then also pass defense. That's something that's been a concern all season long. I mean, it was the rush defense and the pass defense. Now it's just the pass defense. But I have real concerns about the abilities and the effectiveness of the cornerback room specifically right now. Early in the season, it was the safeties. Now we're looking at the corners and wondering, who can be the guy to cover?
That would have been my follow-up. Does that start at the cornerback spot? We saw some big plays allowed him. Of course, Savone Revel still trying to work back into the fold after his major injury in a rookie season. Kalen Carson had a couple of tough tasks against Justin Jefferson and a couple of those talented wide receivers. What did you see out of that cornerback room?
I stand firm in the fact that I don't believe that Savone Revel, I don't think he's healthy. I really don't. I don't think he's 100%. I think that he's healthy enough to play. I don't think he's healthy enough to be effective.
Okay.
And I think that, you have – who else do you have out there? You got some
Carson,
Reddy
Stewart.
Yeah, Reddy Stewart.
Yeah.
Deron
Bland.
Reddy Stewart's a safety.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just reality. He's a strong safety. Some of these other guys are young, inexperienced. Deron Bland has been underwhelming. I just call it what it is. He's been underwhelming since he got that contract extension. Obviously, if you're paying him based off of what he has done in the past, definitely worth it. If you're paying him in terms of what you're expecting, there's both sides of the contract. You haven't seen much from Deron Bland. You're counting on him to be your 1B in that DB room when Trayvon Diggs is not present, and he just hasn't been that. And I don't think he would argue that.
So that's the concern on the secondary. Nate, when you look at this offensive line, what's the concern up front? Because this is a position group that Dallas invested in. They've spent the first-round picks. They've made the investments up front. it's not
Yeah,
paying off at the moment.
Your left guard is your best player, and he's injured. He will be having surgery after the season. Your next best player is your right guard, and he's a rookie. He's still learning. He's getting better. Your third best player is your center, and he has the struggles one-on-one, but your tackles, you got to find some tackles. I don't care if you have to go to free agency or you have to go out and draft. I know you don't want to spend some more assets on your tackles, but you have a $6 million man. You know, I'm going back to old Bonick days. You have a $6 million man back there.
He's the highest paid player in the league.
You don't want him broke. You don't want him broken too. And even our run game can't fix our problem with the offensive line right now. So they're going to have to find a way to adjust.
Yeah, even with spending a significant portion of the first half on the sideline, Javonte Williams still finished with 91 yards in the game. So, like you said, you were able to run the football effectively when he was in the game. He was also missed in that second quarter significantly when he went down with the shoulder injury. We'll give you more updates throughout the week on DallasCowboys.com. Of course, there are plenty of injuries and news and notes to kind of keep an eye on. Be sure to follow us throughout the week. Once again, the final stats, this time presented by Dr. Pepper, as the Minnesota Vikings take down the Dallas Cowboys here in Week 15 of the NFL season. 34-26, the final score. More post-game reaction we'll hear from inside the locker room in a matter of moments, with Cowboys Game Night starting in just under 20 minutes from now. For Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Thanks for listening to The First Word, presented by Dr. Pepper.